Hi guys, good evening. It's Haley. Welcome to my channel. Um, so I have my baby son now. My beautiful little creature. And I'm really excited to do this video. I've been putting it off for a little bit just because I'm so traumatized from the birth of my baby still, and I am dealing with that, and I recognize that. And I'm taking care of my mental health and everything. All while being in rehab and having this newborn baby. So it's so weird, like seeing and feeling my belly small again, or like smaller compared to what it used to be. But so I wanted to share this labor story with you guys because it was really scary. Um, and I kept hearing through like psychic information and everything like easy labor, easy labor, easy labor. And it did not end up being an easy labor. It was anything but I know that there's always a bigger picture to everything. Um, so I went to the hospital on Saturday morning. I was having contractions like a day prior to that too. A lot of back pain in my lower back and a lot of like cramping and I guess I just wasn't ready to have the baby yet. So my friend took me, thankfully, Danielle, thank you, because the rehab was a nightmare. They told me and led me on to believe up until that morning that I was in labor that they were going to take me to the hospital that I wanted to go to give birth, unless there wasn't enough staff here. And then they would take me to Riverside Community, which would be the closest hospital to me. But they lied. So I was really frustrated and agitated by that. My friend ended up taking me because I just stood my ground and was like, fuck that, Danielle's taking me, she can take me. Like, they tried to tell me that only family could take me, and my mom was an hour and a half away. So I was like, well, Danielle's family then, and she's taking me, so suck it, pretty much. Like, don't mess with me, especially the day that I'm going into labor. Like, how dare you guys? Um, that kind of shit frustrates me. Like, don't play games with me. Um, so she took me to the hospital, and then my mom made it around like 11:45. And it took a couple hours to get like back into a room because I arrived around like 9:15. They took me back into the room a while after that. I was waiting for a long time. Um, but I was just breathing through it. It wasn't like too intense or anything at that time, excuse me, compared to what I experienced later. Um, they tested me in the room, um, hooked me up so that they could like hear the baby's heartbeat and everything, and they told me that I was only 2 centimeters dilated, so technically I was not in active labor, but I was in like pre-labor or whatever the fuck. And basically they either wanted to send me home or induce the labor, and I did not want to induce the labor. Like, I was completely against that. I wanted everything to happen naturally, except the epidural maybe. Like, I knew I would need that because I have a very low pain tolerance. But I knew that I couldn't go back to rehab with the pain that I was feeling. There was just no way. Like, I knew that I required medical attention and I wasn't going to get that here. So I had to stay at the hospital. Therefore, I had to induce the baby, which ended up being the safest, anyways, I guess. Like, there's always a bigger picture to everything, and God has a bigger plan in the universe. So, like, it all happened for a reason. But it was still very scary. And, so they induced the labor. They did that 2 separate ways, and I don't remember which order or how long it took. Everything is a blur to some degree, but I also remember everything at the same time. Um, I think it's called Pentosyn or Pentosyn, yeah, something like that, where they inject that through an IV, and then they also stick a not a supplement, but a suppository into the body, and that is supposed to stimulate the cervix to thin it, because they said that my cervix was way too thick to have the baby. Therefore, they needed to induce the labor and thin out the cervix so that he could be pushed out. They also said I had really thick skin too, so thick skin, thick cervix. I'm a warrior, so that happens. So they induced the labor, and I'm going to try to remember everything like in chronological order because time is everywhere for me right now. But inducing the labor sped things up way too quickly. Um, they were monitoring everything very closely, and the nurses were monitoring, the baby's heartbeat from outside of the room that I was in. I did have the first epidural. Yes, I got two. Um, let's see. The first one was cool. Like, I was in very little pain. I was still feeling the contractions. There was a little pain, but not much. And that was enough. Like, that was perfect. But because they induced the baby, everything started happening too quickly, and his heart rate started slowing down a lot. Like, it dropped a lot, and to the point that they came in with like an emergency team of like 6 to 8 people, flipped me over on all fours, stuck a couple shots in my arm, and did I don't know what else to slow down the process to make it stable again. And that scared the shit out of me because my anxiety told me this baby's gonna die. And I was just fucking scared. And it was really scary to experience that because I didn't want anything to happen to him. And what else? That helped, but then the epidural wore off. And I knew my pain tolerance, or like, things were changing. I was starting to experience more pain, but I didn't realize the epidural was wearing off to the point that like it completely wore off. Like, I was pushing the button and like nothing was happening, and I told them my pain is getting worse. My pain is getting worse. My pain is getting worse because I always communicate, right? But when it comes to my needs, they weren't taken care of, and the fact that I was in a lot of fucking pain. Hours later, the epidural had completely wore off, and I was fucked. And I went into a back labor. I was already in back labor, but back labor, I guess, is just where your back extremely fucking hurts because not only are you having contractions in the front by your uterus area, but also in your lower back by your tailbone, and it fucking hurts like hell. Um, so I was in back labor and having these like extremely painful contractions for 5 hours, and I kept asking for another epidural. I need the anesthesiologist. Um, I need the anesthesiologist. I need the anesthesiologist. And the anesthesiologist was fuck knows where else helping people. When they kept telling me he was on his way, next thing I know, they're telling me, oh, sorry, he can't come to you right now. Okay, he's leaving now. Like, he's on his way. Just kidding. He's helping someone else. And I was like, fuck, are you kidding me? Like, this is an emergency. Not that other people's needs don't matter, but mine do too. And I waited 5 fucking hours before I could get another epidural. I was dying, you guys. Like, I was in so much pain. This is the worst pain I've ever experienced. And I've been in a lot of accidents, a lot of trauma, a lot of fucking negligence and shit and emotional trauma. This tops all of it because I thought my baby was gonna die. I wanted to fucking die. I told them, you guys may as well kill me if you cannot. Sorry, boo. Squeak. Um, you guys may as well kill me because I'm more important than the baby at this point, and you guys are not giving me any painkillers. Like, they would not give me anything, and I don't know if it's because I am in rehab, but like there was nothing that they could give me until the second epidural 5 hours later, and I was pissed. And my body was in such extreme pain that like there was nothing I could do, and I felt like I had to escape my body, and I tried to meditate through it, and that didn't work up until a certain point. But even then, it was just like, oh my god, like, I am dying. I can't handle this. I can't handle this. I can't handle this. And I had to overcome all of that, the pain, the physical trauma, the entire experience, the mental process, the emotional process. Like, and I'm a Reiki master teacher. I'm like a master at meditation. That shit was the hardest thing I ever had to do. um my baby's rolling. Hold on, guys. Son. Oh my goodness. You're rolling off your pillow. You're so handsome. I love you. Let's see. Is that okay? Okay. So Okay, now he's comfy. Um, I got to this point in my meditation where I gave up, I guess, and I had to either locate below the energy that was trauma or above the energy that was trauma, if that made sense. I literally like astral project, I guess you could say. Like that's one term for it, but I don't know exactly what it is or what else you would call it, and like locate places in my body to travel to in my mind and in my soul so that I could escape the trauma. And so the only way I can describe it is like that, and that I had to go below the trauma or above the trauma, and above and below my mind, and above and below my emotional state, and above, like, you know, the chakras, like locate myself outside of myself and find the most distant location to go to so that I could handle the trauma. And even then, it was too much to bear. um, and I basically got myself into such a deep meditative state, like a trance, that I could get myself through it and breathe and like escape the trauma and stay below it. Um, and the pain was like somewhere else, but I was still feeling it in my body too. It's weird. But let me see if I can set him down because my arm's getting tired all of a sudden. Let's see. Sleepy baby. And this neck pillow thing is amazing that my friend got me. It works wonders and is so convenient for the baby son. What else? My mom was there with me the whole time. Thankfully, I could not imagine anyone else being there with me. I am so glad that she was my one visitor that I could have with me during this crazy coronavirus pregnancy and labor. And she held my hands when I had to sit up and get the second epidural, and it was a nightmare because the anesthesiologists were complete and total arrogant fucking assholes, and they just wanted to hear themselves talk, and that is not the time, and I am not the one. Um, they came in and they were just saying how his work was done right and blah blah blah, and literally kept repeating himself. And then he had like his assistant dickhole that was also saying how like nothing was done wrong and it shouldn't have worn off. And you know, it's like, well, no shit, but it did. What are you gonna do about it? Like, please just fucking give me the epidural. And then they kept saying how there's risks involved and I need to consent. And I was like, dude, pain relief is my number one priority right now. How many fucking times do I have to repeat myself? Like, just give me the epidural. I know there's risks. I've already consented to it half an hour ago. What are you doing? Like, fuck your life and get out of here, but give me the epidural first. Like, I was just pissed. And when you're an accident survivor or trauma survivor and you're going through extreme trauma, you know how people should act when they're helping you, and when they don't and there's a complete lack of compassion, that shit pisses me off, and they can literally just be cursed and burn in hell. Like, I don't care who you are or what human you appear to be. Everything is energy, and you can fuck right off with that attitude. So, like, be a compassionate human being in the medical industry or fuck off, because that is something people depend on entirely at a soul level to survive. And I was doing this to survive, like during the labor of my son and everything. Like, this was completely about survival. Like, I thought I was gonna die. So, and that's not at all being in any way like dramatic, like, especially when you feel everything and everyone's energy. And my mom literally told the dude, like, you're not touching my daughter with that energy, like with that attitude. And then the nurse and the anesthesiologist started fighting right in front of me, and I was like just thinking, like, you guys deserve murder. Like, just a thought, not pursuing an action, but get out of here with that. So it was just really hard to deal with. And then, you know, I'm having these severe contractions as they're doing the second epidural, and it's like 5 or 6 in the morning. And you know, this guy that's sticking this needle or whatever in my back has literally zero compassion and is expecting me to stay still, which I'm doing really good at, or trying to. And then I just came up with this mantra because I kept automatically, involuntarily pushing the baby, like trying to push him out. My body involuntarily was spasming and contracting and trying to push him out. And they told me to stop pushing. So I just came up with this mantra, like automatically. It was like, I'm stronger than I think. And something along the lines of use your voice, don't push. So automatically I just started screaming. Like I just started fucking like, like screaming like as loud as I could, but it was like this energetic soul level thing. Like, how do I explain it? Like, my body, just every cell in my body, all of my DNA just automatically pushed this scream out that resonated, this energy that was so powerful that like I could overcome this, you know. And she better not come in here. And it was just such a beautiful process, but it was hell and it was a fucking nightmare. And I just kept saying that mantra to myself. I'm stronger than I think. Use your voice, don't push. I'm stronger than I think. Use your voice, don't push. I'm stronger than I think. Use your voice, don't push. And at the same time, my body was still automatically contracting, and I just overcame that. And as long as I could keep my breath and keep my composure and center myself, I was okay. But if I lost that even for a second, that train of mind, I was done and back to intense labor pains and wanting to die. So it definitely took a focus of the mind. I don't know how anyone goes through this naturally without an epidural or does an at-home birth, which I dreamt of. I did not realize pregnancy would be this hard or that labor would be this difficult, but it was. So my mom was there with me the whole time. I was very, very grateful. She was just by my side. She helped me a lot, kept my water refreshed, like talked to the nurses. She didn't try to control anything, which was nice. Like, it was just having someone by my side to compassionately love me when no one else did. And through that process, that helped a lot. Then what else happened? Trying to remember like all the intense shit, but I got the second epidural, and then I think a couple hours rolled on. It was nice to have the pain relief again, and I remember around 8:30 or 8:45 or so, um, he was ready to come out, and I started pushing, which did not take that long, and um, he started coming out, and then they told me that he was going to need to be vacuumed out because he was sitting on his umbilical cord. I don't remember if they told me that. I just remember them saying, "Hi, I'm doing a video right now."
Oh, okay. Want me to come back?
Yeah, please.
Like,
maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Is that okay?
All right.
Thank you. I knew someone was coming, but I felt it minutes before it happened. But my mom had told me that they had said he was sitting on his umbilical cord, and basically that they wanted or needed to vacuum him out in order to reduce the stress of the baby, because otherwise the contractions would have been too stressful on him and the pushing out would have been too stressful for him. So they vacuumed him out by his little head, and then they set him on my chest, and I started just bawling, just bursting into tears. And it was the most beautiful thing to just be like, it's finally done and he's here. And my mom took lots of pictures, which was beautiful. And the fact that he was vacuumed out like caused a lot of issues. So he was born with low blood sugar, which they had to monitor. And he was born with like a little bit of a lockjaw, so he didn't know how to suck and he didn't know how to eat. So we had to highly monitor him, get his blood sugar back to stable. I ended up staying in the hospital for 3 or 4 days from Saturday until I believe Tuesday night. Came back to rehab on Wednesday. they had to feed him glucose through a syringe, I think. Every time that he would try to latch onto my breast, he would just sit there. He didn't know how to suck. Um, we couldn't feed him anything than the glucose at first to get his blood sugar to raise. And then, they gave me formula to feed him, which I really didn't want to do. At first I said, no, I don't want to do that. But because he couldn't latch onto my breast, he didn't know how to breastfeed, he didn't know how to eat. We had to switch over to formula. And I didn't end up giving him any vaccines except for the vitamin K, because they kind of talked me into it, and I felt like right about it, like, okay, that's fine. Even though I'm against vaccines for the most part, I would never vaccinate myself now that I have a say in it. And I don't have a problem with like having been vaccinated in the past or anything, but now that I know what I know and that our bodies are pure and unadulterated and very intelligent and can heal themselves, and babies are born pure at a DNA level, and like their immune systems are pure and unadulterated, like I would not want to inject chemicals into their body to prevent anything when our bodies are born to be able to prevent certain things. Excuse me. And let's see. So yeah, we had to teach him how to suck, how to eat. There was a breastfeeding specialist that came in and taught me how to breastfeed. All the nurses helped a lot with that too, and how to like massage the breasts and get the milk stimulated. I also had to learn how to express, which is like getting the colostrum out of the breast before the breast milk is developed, and coming in. So I was doing that and like extracting the colostrum and then putting it into syringes to feed him so he could at least have some of my breast milk or colostrum. And that also helped his blood sugar to stabilize. And what else? It was really traumatizing also to just see the fact that like he didn't know how to eat and he couldn't eat, and I felt like I couldn't take care of him. But I know that's just a part of the process, and it was really depressing, but I also got over it, and I still deal with that a little bit. Not so much the depression, but a little bit more agitation and anxiety, like seeing that he doesn't know how to latch onto my breast, and he just would make the most little frustrating face, um, like when he's like up against my boob and he like doesn't know what to do with it. But he's getting better. He's getting a lot better. Like today he breastfed for probably a few minutes, sucking constantly and like not giving up, and I think he was actually getting like a good amount of milk. Now that my milk is coming in, that helps too. And he was just a lot less agitated and more patient, and like stayed on my breast for a few minutes consistently, so I was really happy about that. I'm also producing a lot more breast milk now so that I can feed him through a bottle. Even if he's not latching on or getting what he needs from the boob, I can still feed him breast milk from the bottle. And I'm not really using formula so much anymore, but sometimes I'll supplement with formula if I don't have time to breast pump or I'm just too tired. Like, I'm not going to feel bad about it because I need to do what I need to do. Um, but he's a lot healthier now. His appetite. Hi, I'm busy. I'm doing a video. Thank you. No privacy here. I can't wait to go to Sober Living, and get my own place too. Obviously, I've been waiting for that for a long time. But hey, baby son. He's so cozy. I posted a video on my Instagram earlier of him smiling. He's been smiling a lot today, and it like made me cry. I was so happy and just filled with joy. But back to the breast milk, that's going well, and I'm pumping at least a couple times a day. I'm trying to. I wasn't really doing it at all at first, except a little bit here and there and trying it. But now I'm sitting and I have like the ability to do it for 15 minutes straight and produce a lot of milk, around like anywhere from 3.5 to maybe 5 ounces every time I breast pump. And that's super healthy for him because that has all the nourishment and nutrients that he needs to support his little body and his mind and his soul. And let's see, back to the hospital. What else can I think of to share with you guys? So I was there for a few days. It was nice because I got like really good meals. Like they weren't like gourmet or anything, but they give a lot of food at Loma Linda University. 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and like you get like a ton of snacks and everything with each meal, and like 3 drinks. So basically, it was like feeding my mom too, and myself, and like had plenty to eat and plenty left over. So like it was really a nice experience in that sense because I love food and I love nourishing myself. And they also let me stay even though like I had been discharged and didn't need the medical attention myself so much like the baby did, and they still needed to highly monitor him and do like blood tests every hour to 3 hours and stuff like that and check his blood sugar levels. So I ended up staying in the hospital and they still fed me meals after that for free, which was nice. They call it a breastfeeding tray. So if you guys ever go to Loma Linda University, you can just ask for a breastfeeding tray instead of buying food if you're breastfeeding and continue to stay in the hospital with your baby for whatever reason. So, let's see, what else, what else? And then I left the hospital Tuesday evening, I believe, and came back to rehab and started crying as soon as I got inside the door because I was just so emotional and so overfilled with joy to be back home with my baby, where I knew that everyone wanted to see him and hold him, and he was the star of the show, and that I had just conquered something treacherous and like life changing. Um, and I have not brushed my teeth today and I have not showered. And I video chatted with the father of my son today, which was nice because he got to see his son. And I swear to God, if someone else knocks right now. And he got to see me like change his diaper and feed him and burp him and just kind of see the process of like what I'm going through and just like how hard it is, or at least I hope he can see that a little bit, just that there's a lot to do when it comes to having a baby. And I know this didn't happen by accident, even though it did, and he was completely unexpected. In the bigger picture, there are no accidents, so I hope that he gets to see his daddy like grow and evolve and be like a bigger, better person and everything, and stay sober for the most part at least, because it's a really emotional time right now and I can feel their connection, and that gets to me, but stretching, son. Yeah, what else? And I'm also thankful for my baby daddy that he's paying for this phone because now I can do YouTube videos and I don't have to worry about running out of data, and take plenty of videos and pictures of my son and stuff like that, and listen to meditation music while I'm in rehab and just make it a more peaceful space while I'm here. And baby son got plenty of clothes today that I'm organizing, and I'm just really grateful to be here because even though I'm alone in this from one aspect and like don't have a lot of help, you know, like I don't have time to take a shower, I don't have time to brush my teeth, like I don't have time to do certain things. Granted, I can keep up with my meals and stuff. It's really difficult. I have to squeeze in a lot of time for myself while taking care of Ezekiel and make sure that he comes first, but I come first too. So it's a very delicate balance to make sure that I'm healthy and well fed and have the time that I need to do certain things like meditate. But pretty much everything that I'm doing right now is for him, which makes it really difficult. Because I don't have anyone to babysit and be like, hey, can you watch him while I go take a shit? Like, I have to make sure that all of his needs are taken care of before I leave the room because I don't want to leave him crying or in a state of need. I can't do that. So I know how some people are just like, leave him crying, but for the most part, like, I won't do that. Like, yeah, if it's a little bit, but if he's crying, like, I'm gonna make sure that his needs are taken care of before my own. In the bigger picture, that his diapers are changed and fresh, that he's been fed, that he's not tired and is able to sleep, and that he's burped, and you know, shit like that. So I hope that this video is still going because I just got a weird notification. But what else? Yeah, it's just really hard to like not to be alone in this. And granted, there's people supporting me around the rehab that ask if I need anything, but when it comes down to it, like, I need a partner. I feel like I need a partner. Like, I can't just keep doing this alone, you know? And it's really hard to be a single mother, because when you need certain things, you just need certain things and you need the support. And but I'm doing it, and there are a lot of people that offer me support in ways like, you know, giving him clothing and giving him diapers and wipes and stuff like that. And you know, he has everything that he needs, which I'm really grateful for. Like, he will never need for anything, as far as I can tell, and would like to say, like, my son will never need for anything. And now I just, you know, need to work on me and being a mother and figuring out new ways of doing things and finding this delicate balance and harmony and peace so that I can keep my sanity and like my stable mind and my physical health. Um, but I'm really happy overall. And I go to sober living in about a week or a week and a half, which I'm really excited for because I'll have a lot more freedom. But now I have baby sons, so I need to figure things out like transportation and stuff like that, and how to get around and, you know, have the support that I need while being in a new place, which I know is going to happen naturally, but it's still a little stressful to really stressful depending on the degree. I'm trying not to think about it too much and just stay in the present moment because literally moment to moment things can change. Blessings are on their way. I know they are, but they're already here too, and I'm just super blessed and grateful to be in the space that I'm in. Um, and I just want to thank everyone for your support. If you're watching this video, the people that have helped me in the past and the present, and those that are going to come around in the future. Um, we're on to our next step very soon. I'm still in quarantine, which is supposed to only be 7 days, but I'm just going to tell the rehab, like, I really don't want to do groups or go back to the regular baby son, the regular rehab schedule. Look at that pouty face. I just want to be with my baby and bond with him and not fuck around with the rehab schedule anymore. And until I go to sober living, because really there's no point. Just don't fuck with me. Give me my time with my baby and let me do my own thing in my room until I go to sober living, and I'm sure that will be fine and it will all work out. So, I think that's about it. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I know if it's not coming up, it's not meant to be. So, um, yeah, it's also been really stressful, like, with appointments and stuff like that. Like, I know I need to stand my ground and continue to do so. I always do, but like letting people push me around